The life of the modern man is disgustingly unnatural. I know some men are living a decent life. They get with women or they have their wife and kids and everything. But even that, the way people live these days is artificial. It's dehumanizing the way we live in our modern society. Our ancestors went to war with swords and spears and all kinds of crude weaponry. They fought battles with axes, with their shirts off. I don't even like being in my house with my shirt off because it's a little bit too cold. It's like 72 degrees in the house. That's a little bit too cold, so I don't even like being in my house without a shirt. But my ancestors were in the highlands probably barefoot, navigating rough terrain, no shirts, wielding handmade battle axes, charging against opposing tribes, enemies, who sometimes had vastly superior technology and tactics. I can't even remember the last time I just went outside barefoot because it's uncomfortable to step on the pavement or even walking on the grass with my bare feet. I might step on a stick or something and it might hurt my foot. That's what modern men are like. And, I am the same way. So, I'm talking about myself here. I know a lot of you are going to say, well, you wouldn't want to go back to those times. Life is actually better now with all our air conditioning and smartphones and online shopping and cars and just all our little conveniences. Actually, life is better now. It's better to not have to go to war and fight with sharp weapons and risk getting gutted alive by the enemy and having your whole family and everyone you've ever known have horrible acts committed against them. But the thing is, yeah, if I actually had the choice to go back and live that life, I would probably choose to stay in the current time because, yeah, I don't actually want all that danger and uncertainty. But that's because I'm a coward. I am a weak-hearted coward. Compared to the rest of modern men living today, I don't think I'm particularly weak and cowardly. But compared to the average man back before, I don't know, we'll just say prior to the Industrial Revolution, compared to those men, I'm just pathetic. And you are too. And I know that everything we do is unnatural. It's our greatest strength as human beings that we use our minds and our intellect to harness the forces of nature and build technology and whatever. But at some point, all this convenience brought on by technology is actually going too far. Like, imagine if we were at the point where it was normal for people to live their whole life with VR goggles on, wearing some kind of haptic jumpsuit with a feeding tube connected to their stomach. So you're basically just living in the Matrix, but you know you're doing it. Well, that would be the ultimate convenience. That would be just a super convenient and comfortable lifestyle. But who amongst us today, right now, would say, yeah, give me that lifestyle. That's what I want. Strap me in my pod and pump me full of slop. Put the goggles on my head and, oh my God, now I'm inside the anime? I'm one of the Z Fighters. Oh my God, I'm friends with Goku. It's so great. No, nobody wants that. Maybe it could be cool to try it out, but very few people alive today would say that they would rather live their whole life in the VR sensory deprivation pod like that. I think most people would agree that's just too unnatural. That's just a bit too far. That's taking it too far. Humans weren't meant to live like that. But if and when we do actually get to that point, because we are going to get to that point eventually, and we're probably not even that far from it. When we get to that point, Most people will just live that way. They will choose to live that way. And they will make all of the same arguments they make now to justify why we're better off living in our air-conditioned apartments, ordering McDonald's delivery from our smartphones, instead of going out with our brethren, forming raiding parties to go loot and pillage and take what we want for ourselves at the risk of everything. Not even just for survival, but for glory. So you might say that living in a virtual reality pod with a haptic jumpsuit and tubes and wires connected all over your body is taking it too far. I think that computers are taking it too far. The automobile is perhaps just a step too far. Creature comforts and modern convenience is at an all-time high, yet depression, anxiety, alienation, loneliness, these things are also at an all-time high. Is there perhaps a connection there? And just look at the way we're supposed to live our lives these days. Like, according to society, I'm supposed to just sit in a chair all day, hunched over a computer screen. Well, in my case, probably 2 computer screens. I am an educated, degreed man, okay? So if I did have a job, you better believe I would have a dual monitor setup. But that's how I'm supposed to live. While actually, I am an animal. I am a human male animal, okay? Desire and libido, those are deep instinctual impulses. So me as a male human animal, how can I expect a female human animal to feel desire for me when I'm just sitting there hunched over, clicking my mouse all day? Like, oh my God, look how good he clicks. Oh my God, did you see that line of code he just wrote? It's so optimized. Oh my fucking God, I'm so wet at how optimized his coding is. No, that's not how animals function. Yes, humans are a very unique, very intelligent animal, but our basic impulses and bodily functions are not as intelligent as our brains, okay? You know what makes women attractive to me as a human male? Wide hips, a round rear end, fat bosom, etc. You already know. I don't need to explain it to you. And yes, I am also attracted to femininity, feminine behavior and everything. Well, women are like us. They are human animals. So they are attracted to masculinity, a masculine physique, and masculine behavior. Okay, so I'm already ugly. I'm not going to be attracting women by being a good office worker. Okay, that's not a talent that any woman is going to be attracted to. And my looks aren't cutting it either. So, it's a inhuman way of living, working in an office. My best chance at attracting a woman is by letting her see me ride back to the village with a bunch of gold chalices and shit hanging off the side of my horse, blood stains on my face, and not everybody I left with is coming back with me. Some of the brethren didn't make it. But that's okay. Some of their wives might need some comfort. Then that's fine. I can handle that. I already seen how Edelstan's widow was checking me out with my new chalices. I got a big enough dwelling to house a few extra widows. We will recover from the loss of Adelstan and Grindelwald. They fought bravely, some of the bravest warriors this tribe has ever seen. Now come sit on my lap, Mildred, and I'll tell you all about it. Yeah, I know I get carried away thinking about it, but that's a more human-centric way of living. We aren't supposed to have social media. We're not supposed to be able to communicate with people halfway across the world in an instant. If Adelstan died in battle, then now I get to fuck Mildred. And she wouldn't want it any other way. That's natural. That's human. That's the way we're supposed to be living. Not like this. Not working in a damn office. Not commuting in a fucking car 30 minutes each way. Getting underpaid, overworked, but the work itself is bullshit. It's just sitting in a chair clicking a mouse. That's not how we're supposed to live. We're supposed to go into battle with our brethren and risk our lives. Now, obviously, I am being a little bit funny, okay? I like to joke around. I would not actually add my brethren's widow to my harem. Sorry to tell you, Mildred. If Adelstan dies, we'll take care of you, but I'm not gonna, you can't live in my dwelling. I've already got a wife in this scenario. What am I talking about? I would not actually add my brethren's widow to my harem. That's not something I would do. There is no honor in that. And that's actually one of the best things about living back in those days. The ancestral golden age, if you will. Humans were not meant to live in these giant metropolitan areas with millions of other people. We're supposed to live in tight-knit, small communities where everybody knows everybody else, and you might think that sounds awful, but actually it's probably better in most cases. There's no inkwells in a small, tight-knit community. And back then, if there's not enough women to go around for every man to have a wife, then you just get some of the brethren together and you get your battle axes and your swords and your slings and you get on your trusty steeds and you go find you some more women to bring back to the village. It's good for the gene pool too, genetic diversity and everything. But back to the topic of how even in the modern age, women's desires are still just animal impulses. Young women will talk about how they just love a soft boy, a soft boy like Harry Styles or Timothy Chalamet. And I know these guys are attractive facially. Women are attracted to guys that have nice symmetrical faces and everything, but that's just brainwashing. That's modern era brainwashing. What women really want deep down is a barbarian. That's why Mildred went for Adelstan in the first place. Mildred has the most ample bosom in the whole damn tribe. She could have been with any man she wanted, but she chose to bear Adelstan's offspring because Adelstan was a ferocious warrior that could chop 2 men in half with one swing of the axe. But seriously, I'll stop daydreaming about being part of a ancient Anglo-Saxon tribe or whatever this is that I've been going on about. But the point I want to make is that women are more attracted to athletes than pretty boys because women want warriors, okay? They want barbarians. You want to know a good way to make women forget about Timothy Chalamet? Put him in a room with a bunch of professional athletes. Or better yet, think about it like this. Put Timothy Chalamet against Mike Trout and let them compete in a home run derby. Then have them compete in an acting competition by reading a monologue on stage. Women will get the ick when they see Timothy Chalamet struggling to swing a bat, but they won't give a damn about how bad Mike Trout is at acting. When they see Mike Trout just knocking dingers out of the park, they're all going to suddenly change their mind and be like, oh, okay, yeah, that made me feel tingly. And when they see Timothy Chalamet not even managing to make contact, that's anti-tingle. It's repulsive. And they might not even admit it, but what women say they want versus what they actually want. Personally, I believe all women wink, wink. But a raw demonstration of physical strength is always going to beat any kind of non-physical talent, like acting or doing math really good or whatever. Of course, looks are important, but that's why I used Mike Trout as the athlete in my example instead of like Joakim Noah or somebody like that. Everything about our modern society is just alienating. And another thing about modern work, most jobs these days are so abstract. Like back in the day, if you were a blacksmith, you made weapons, you made armor, or whatever else blacksmiths made, perhaps silverware. Most jobs back in those days involved making something, okay? You were some kind of craftsman. So you could actually physically see and feel and experience the fruits of your labor. It was very clear in your mind what the value of your work was and how it provided value to whoever ended up purchasing it. Especially in a small, tight-knit community, if you were, say, a cobbler and you made a pair of shoes for your neighbor Grindelwald, you would get to see Grindelwald walking around in the shoes you made for him. And not only would you benefit from earning some coin from the sale of the shoes, but you'd also benefit emotionally just knowing, hey, I made the world a better place. I improved Grindelwald's life. And now, when we go into battle together to capture some more women for frickin', I don't know, Wolfred the Recluse and all the other lonely men in the tribe, we're going to be more prepared for whatever perils we encounter because Grindelwald's feet are in good condition because I made him a comfortable and functional pair of shoes. But most jobs these days, in the modern day, you're just sending emails, or you're making a very subtle change to a CAD drawing, or you're adding like one line of code to a code base consisting of 2 million lines of code. The value that you're producing is so far abstracted from the end user or whoever it is that benefits from your work that you don't actually feel good about what you're doing. You have no idea whether or not anything you're doing is even actually providing any value or if you're just a drain on the company profits. Who knows? Nobody knows. So you aren't acting like an actual human animal in your day-to-day life, and you can't even tell if anything you're doing is even worth doing outside of it just being what you have to do to pay your bills. My advice, which you should not take because I am not intelligent, but my advice to any young men coming up in the world today, do your best to try to become a professional athlete. That is a better career path than coding or engineering or whatever, anything you can think of, being a lawyer, whatever. Your chances of making it to the big leagues is extremely low, but good luck ever getting a woman to actually be attracted to you when all she ever sees you doing is typing away at a keyboard. Oh my God, his words per minute! What a hunk! He's so good at typing! Oh my God! If you do want to take on one of those feminine office professions, you better find out a way to demonstrate your strength and prowess to women. Unless you're okay with being married to a woman that daydreams about other men all day, because maybe you can get a woman to date you if you're a successful career-maxing work cell, but I'm guessing you probably want your woman to desire you also. And if you want desire, then you need to be striking things with precision and force. You need to be smashing things, okay? Crushing things. These ladies out here, fellas, I'm telling you, they have to know how strong and dangerous you could be if you want them to actually desire you. And I'm not talking about lifting weights. I don't care how much you deadlift. Nobody is impressed by you picking something up. That's lame. Okay, it's not impressive. Women don't care. It is good for you to lift weights because it can help you get stronger. Okay, so it is good for you to lift weights. It'll help you fight better. It'll help you hit more dingers or whatever. But yeah, I mean, really, it's already over for any of us that are older than, say, 10 years old, because the path to the big league starts early. And I mean, it's probably not worth it just to try to be the star of your local rec league or whatever, because I mean, if you're at the point where that's even crossing your mind, it's already so over. But I really do think athlete maxing is probably the best career path for young guys these days. You might as well shoot for the stars because the odds of getting yourself into a happy relationship as an average guy are so low. Might as well try to be the next Shohei Ohtani. And if that doesn't work out, so what? You'll just be in the same boat with all the stem cells like me that can't find a job in this crumbling economy. So, yeah, go for it. Might as well. But there's really just not any good path forward for most men these days. We have all this convenience right there in our pockets, just a swipe away, but what does that even get us? Skyrocketing rates of depression and loneliness, a freaking male loneliness epidemic. Like, just think about that. Nobody gives a shit about men's problems, but things are so bad right now that the male loneliness epidemic actually broke into the mainstream. It is so bad out here for men these days that even our gynocentric mainstream media can't ignore it. Not to mention the state of the job market right now. Just take me back. I really would rather live in a tribal Celtic village, just a small, tight-knit community. Nobody cares about diversity and political correctness or anything. There's no culture war. There's just real war. Iron, blood, sweat, glory, and death. That's how we're supposed to be living. It's not supposed to be like this. We are not supposed to have video games and apps. We're not supposed to have all these distractions. Our entertainment is supposed to be hunting and raiding and pillaging and passing down oral traditions by the fireside. And, Mildred might give me an oral tradition after Adelstan falls in battle, but that's war. That's life. It's just how it is. It's how it's supposed to be. That's what being an animal is. I'm not trying to transcend my animal impulses. In fact, I'm trying to revert back to that. I was born in a transcended society. I'm trying to revert back to the animal impulses. We should all just be living by our animal impulses. That's what our whole brain structure is evolved to be like. Or maybe it was created to be that way, whatever you believe, but there's a reason we have impulses and urges just like every other animal on this planet. Maybe we shouldn't be trying to make everything all safe and convenient. Maybe we were never meant to live that way. Modern life is a joke. It is disgusting, twisted, and unnatural. Even by medieval times, when they had complex siege weaponry and engineered fortifications and everything, by that time, we were already too far gone. The men in those times were already pathetic and weak and too feminine. Just look at how Robin Hood dressed, Peter Pan looking ass. Take me back to BC times. Life should be all about throwing rocks at each other and hitting each other with big sticks. That is why we're in a male loneliness epidemic. Women don't desire us because we're weak and we don't do anything valuable. We don't do anything masculine. You know the opening scene of 2001: A Space Odyssey? That is peak society. That is peak masculinity. Just using a bone as a hammer to crush other bones. That's what women want. And that's how we should be living our lives anyways. Not like this. I'm sitting here talking into a microphone right now while you watch video footage of me playing a video game. It's pathetic for both of us. We should be... If you want to just do something mindless for fun, go find a big bone and use it to smash other bones into the dirt. That's an activity we were meant to be doing as animals. Not watching a screen recording of someone else playing a video game. That's unnatural, okay? Find an animal's femur or something and use it to smash another dead carcass of an animal's bones. Crush them. Make dust out of bones. Whatever. It's too late to fix things now. Might as well make it even worse. So go ahead and smash that like button and subscribe. Or, I don't know, go get an egg out of your fridge and throw it at the fucking wall. And just sit there and watch the egg yolk and white just drip down the wall, destroying your paint. I guarantee that will be both more entertaining and more memorable and actually a better use of your time than watching any more of my garbage videos or any other videos on YouTube. Just caveman max. We should all be caveman maxing. Just fucking pick something up off your desk right now and smash it. And listen to the sound of it breaking. Take your stupid Bluetooth headphones out of your ears, smash something, such as a lamp perhaps, or your keyboard, and listen to the sound of it breaking. And then pick up the pieces and throw that shit at the wall. That's a real experience, not this fake bullshit virtual social media pseudo-reality we all psychologically terrorize ourselves with daily. Seriously though, like and subscribe. It helps me out. And thank you for watching.